Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a hidden thread that might literally be lurking right beneath your feet. We're going to focus on radon gas, and specifically look at why homeowners in Illinois need to be on high alert. We'll be walking through the hard data and the top recommendations from regional home safety pros so you know exactly what this is, and more importantly, what you should do about it.
Think of us as home detectives today, right? Because you absolutely cannot detect this particular intruder by smell, sight, or taste. There are zero warning signs, no strange odors, no immediate physical clues that it's just hanging out in your living space. You know, you might be sitting in your home right now, totally, completely unaware of its presence.
All right, Section 1, the invisible intruder. Let's identify our suspect.
So what exactly is this suspect? Well, the crucial point here is that radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas, and it's forming right in the dirt beneath us. The source material is crystal clear on this. Exposure to radon is directly linked to lung cancer. And what's crazy is that indoor concentrations can soar way past what you'd breathe outside, which poses a really serious, life-threatening risk to your family if it just sits there and accumulates. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I have a well-maintained, tightly sealed house. I'm totally protected from the earth below. Actually, scratch that. Radon is incredibly sneaky. It slips right through cracks in basements, crawl spaces, and foundation walls. Even crazier, it exploits microscopic gaps, plumbing penetrations, and construction joints. A house that looks perfectly solid to the naked eye can still be totally vulnerable to what's seeping up from the soil.
Moving on to Section 2, the Illinois radon risk. Let's look at this regional vulnerability.
Here's the thing about Illinois. The landscape naturally harbors this threat. Because of the specific geology of the state, the natural soil conditions can lead to notoriously high indoor radon levels. So if you live in Illinois, the question usually isn't even whether radon exists around you, but whether your specific home is sitting right on top of a major source that's actively pulling those high concentrations indoors.
Okay, we need to bust a massive myth right here. You absolutely cannot assume your home is safe just because your neighbor's house tested low, or because you live in a brand new build. The data emphasizes that radon levels vary drastically from one property to the very next. Relying on assumptions about your neighborhood, that's a quick way to miss a huge health risk right in your own living room.
And remember our whole detective approach? Well, as a homeowner detective, you've got to remember this fact. There are absolutely no definitive visual signs that confirm radon is elevated in a building. Having a beautifully finished basement or a flawless foundation doesn't guarantee you're safe from an invisible gas. The way your house is built might change how you manage the risk, sure, but it's never going to tell you if the gas is actually there.
Which brings us to Section 3, why testing matters. This is your primary investigative tool.
Since visual clues are completely useless, we have to rely on the science. Homeowners typically choose between two forensic tools. First, you've got short-term testing. This gives you timely, rapid info, which is awesome if you need a quick risk assessment, like if you're buying or selling a house. On the flip side, long-term testing gives you a highly accurate average. It captures how your home's radon levels fluctuate through different seasons. Because yeah, the weather and time of year actively impact your radon levels. So that long-term data provides a really comprehensive picture.
Public health guidance is super specific about this next part. You must collect the data first. You should only ever move forward with a mitigation system when your certified test results hit those established action thresholds. You don't just start ripping up floors and installing a system out of panic. You do it because the hard data demands it.
All right, Section 4, how mitigation works. Let's talk about evicting the intruder.
If your investigation does turn up high levels, how do you kick it out? Well, this process takes a microscopic threat and defeats it with a really clever macroscopic mechanical fix. First, a pro designs a system tailored to your exact floor plan. Second, they use a method called sub-slab depressurization, which is basically just a fancy way of saying the system actively sucks the soil gas away from beneath your foundation. Third, it safely vents that gas outside using a dedicated pipe and fan. And finally, they run a post-mitigation verification test to prove the system actually worked and the threat is neutralized.
The best part about this whole setup? Properly installed systems lower those indoor radon levels without you even noticing they're there. You get total peace of mind knowing it's just operating silently in the background. It safely vents that radioactive gas straight to the outdoors, completely maintaining your comfort inside without messing with your heating or AC.
Basically, the golden rule from all our source material boils down to a very simple but powerful directive. Test rather than guess.
It's just a vital reminder that assumptions have absolutely zero place when we're talking about a radioactive gas. Guessing simply isn't a valid safety strategy for your home, your family, or your health.
So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Are you going to rely on guesswork, or are you ready to test and find out what's literally in the air you're breathing right now? It might be time to schedule that test with a certified pro, review your data, and just ask yourself, can you really afford to leave this invisible suspect uninvestigated? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and definitely stay safe out there.